Obviously, we have heard the report that happened just a few days ago on Wednesday that Michigan has fired head coach Sherrone Moore due to an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. He's fired for cause. This has been a really crazy story to follow, with the fact of him being arrested for police action, breaking into a house, and lots of things going on. Obviously, there's been some crazy stories with it. I don't want to focus too much on that. I want to more focus on the football side of things when it comes to this conversation today. Michigan obviously going 9-3 this past season. Not a bad season for Michigan. Obviously winning the national championship a few years ago. You're moving on from a new coach from Harbaugh to Moore, but you get beat big in Ohio State. And then it seemed a little ironic, not going to lie, Nick, that these rumors started to come out right after the Ohio State loss. What do you take overall from this before we dig into maybe some candidates for this job?
Yeah, that's going to be a fun conversation. Obviously, the whole Sherrone Moore situation, not ideal. And as far as everything that's going on, like legally or whatever, like nothing's really finalized. So all we can really look at for sure is that he was fired for cause. And that's never great. Obviously, feel for everyone that's really associated with Michigan. I feel like at this point is kind of what it's come to, especially in the last few years with what Michigan's been through. Even with the Connor Stallions thing, I don't know if all Michigan fans are against that. It, got them a national title, but this is one of those that it got out of control really, really quickly. I think is probably how a lot of people feel, and you're exactly right. It was kind of like, once you're not winning, we're not going to let so much slide. And it's kind of the same thing with the NFL. Like, if you're winning, things are going to be okay. Like, we're going to let a few things go. If you're not quite showing up on time to meetings, but we're winning games, you're throwing 300 yards a game, that's fine. As soon as you stop winning games, you're 5 minutes late, you're getting cut, buddy. So that's kind of how that felt to me. But I think the biggest thing that we're looking at here is, we were talking about this a little bit off air, Michigan is kind of one of those jobs right now that is up there with, like they say, 32 NFL head coaching jobs. It's like Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. You'd said Notre Dame. There's like probably around 15 to 20 jobs in college football that are on another level, and one of them just opened up. Is there a possibility that we see some coaches who just signed extensions, some coaches who just signed at new schools say, wait, I was committed here. Yeah, for sure. The ink is not dry yet, though. Like, the Michigan job just opened up. Is there a possibility we could smudge that signature? Can I go over to Ann Arbor? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's very true. And probably the only little jab I'm going to put in here is that, like, obviously, if you agree about the cheating scandals with Harbaugh in the national championship or not, I did see something very funny. It was like a meme, and it was Harbaugh yelling at Moore on a meme and said, "Hey, wrong kind of cheating." It's like, okay, all right, hang on. Thought that was really funny. But no, when I'm looking at coaching candidates, welcome to Marv and Rauh in the morning. When I'm looking at coaching candidates, I mean, a couple interesting things come up. I mean, there's been a report that Kilane Sitake, one of his only non-buyouts, is to University of Michigan. Kalen DeBoer obviously seems like a name to move. Was possibilities of his name moving to Penn State. He kind of took those rumors and squashed them really quick. We have yet to hear him squash the rumors about Alabama or about him moving from Alabama to Michigan. And then, of course, Dave Portnoy, Barstool guy, Michigan dude, really pushing for John Gruden. John Gruden had a thing in a yearbook years ago where he said that his after graduation, he would like to become the head coach of the University of Michigan. So him manifesting it for years as he is since he's been in college. So, I mean, those are probably three of them. I think there's definitely some other names that pop up for sure. I mean, we're going to talk about one later on when we preview Army-Navy game. Like, do they look at a guy like Jeff Monken? Like, that could be an interesting piece. Or are they going like for a home run hitter, like we mentioned, Kalen DeBoer? Or who knows? Like, is this something that is a chain reaction? Like Kalen, I've heard this rumor, and this one's crazy to me, but imagine this. With all the drama we've already had in college football coaching this year, imagine if DeBoer went to Michigan and that set up like Lane Kiffin to Alabama.
Oh my goodness. That would be a wild, butterfly, waterfall, whatever you want to call it, effect. Yeah. The other name that I wanted to throw out there, because I do think it's really interesting, is Matt Campbell, crazily enough. Wow. Just signed with Penn State. A lot of people calling for Matt Campbell, a lot of Michigan, alumni saying like, hey, Matt Campbell's a great pick. A lot of, kind of guys that are in basically non-Penn Staters are like, what about Matt Campbell? Like, he just signed. How does that whole thing work? And I don't know what his buyout is actually. I don't think it was that high. But I will say this. It sounds like Matt Campbell's a huge fan of like Ohio State, and that's really like going to be a problem here as far as like coach of Michigan, fan of Ohio State. We all know what that rivalry looks like. I am writing Matt Campbell off entirely. Now, if Ohio State were to open up by some wild butterfly effect, then I would certainly be interested in at least pursuing that, looking into how likely that is. I don't see him becoming the next head coach at Michigan. However, Kilane Sitake, you mentioned it,
Interesting.
is
Yeah.
to me the biggest candidate right now. I think that one makes the most sense to me because he was almost pulled off of BYU for Penn State. And to me, Penn State versus Michigan, Michigan is a better get. And if he's already got in his, new contract that Michigan is a no buyout team, he can get off basically scotch free. Like immediately my ears perked up. Look at that. I think that is something, and I think Michigan wins in that category. You asked the question, and I'll bounce it right back to you. Does Michigan hire a home run hitter, or do they hire some smaller guy that'll come up in the ranks? My guess is they're going to hit, kind of right in the middle. I think Kilane Sitake is much closer to a home run hitter, but he's not an SEC guy. He hasn't really proved it in the Big Ten or the SEC or whatever. So we'll have to see how he pans out in that league. I think that's probably the best pick here because based on everything that Michigan's been through over the last few years. I think Kilane Sitake is a very middle of the road as far as like chaos wise. Like he's not too calm, but he's not too chaotic. He's definitely seen success at BYU, and it's clear that the interest is there. They're going to want somebody who wants to be at Michigan. This is an end of the road job for so many coaches. Just bringing a guy who really wants to be there. Look out for Kilane Sitake.
I don't know if the contract details that have been floated around social media are been verified or not, but we've both seen the same thing, that the three teams that Kilane Sitake can go to without a buyout are the University of Michigan, the University of Utah, and the University of Southern California, USC. So those are the three teams. And one of them being Michigan makes you wonder, right? And also, he signed that extension after the crumble cookie debate just a few weeks ago. But according to, we've known about these rumors for Sherrone Moore since the Ohio State game. If we know about it, the coaching carousel and the agents know about it. So why is there a reason, if this is the case, why is that team as a buyout in there? So I think he is going to be a candidate. I think you could hear maybe he gets interviewed. So. He was interviewed to go to Penn State. So it sounds like he's open to maybe moving away from BYU, whether he was using that for leverage or not. So yeah, Michigan's one of the top premier coaching gigs in all of the land. And you could obviously think about college coaches making the move. What about John Harbaugh? What about the other Harbaugh brother? Obviously not having the best season in Baltimore. There's been rumors about him and Lamar Jackson not getting along. Potentially, even though he got an extension, he's been with Baltimore for a very long time. Apparently that has not worked out, that relationship. And they might miss the playoffs this year. So maybe, what about that one? That could happen too. And obviously there's a couple other NFL names. Stefanski with the Browns, could he fall down? I don't know if they want to go from a Browns coach to trying to say he's going to take over Michigan, but like there's a couple names that definitely have piqued my interest, if you will, talking about these Michigan Wolverines. This is going to be a wild ride, but I think it's going to have to happen sooner or later. The transfer portal is less than 3 weeks away. This is a team that's supposed to be playing Texas in the bowl game. Like you got to get ready. Now, good old Biff is going to be the interim coach. I don't think he's going to take over as the head coach, but moving forward, man, interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff for sure.
When this one opened up, this is one of those jobs like when Washington State opened up, when Jimmy Rogers came over, their coaching search does not look like this. Like this is one of those that immediately now is every single coach, their head snapped. Like, what opened up? What head coaching position is open right now? Are they accepting anyone as far as interviews? Can I apply to be the Michigan head coach? So keep your eyes open. It could be somebody we've never heard of before. I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be a big name. I'm not going to lock in on Kilane Sitake, but like you said, if that contract kind of buyout situation is true, he's my favorite right now. I think it makes the most sense for both programs. But also, you mentioned it, like guys coming down from the NFL. If you're going to come back down from the NFL, this is a job that you absolutely look out for. I think it's only a matter of time. Really quick last point on this. What do you think? Does Michigan say, no, we're not going to bowl now? We're done bowling? Or is that just a Notre Dame, Iowa State, Kansas State thing?
Yeah, I think that's just the Notre Dame thing. They've already named the coach saying he's going to coach the bowl game. So it sounds like they're all in and for that. So yeah, it doesn't sound like Michigan needs any more extra drama to say they're taking their ball and going home. I think the Irish are just going to be one sticking around with that one for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. Hilarious.